Your college years are the best years of your life. Those were words I heard at orientation day in college. Safe to say that wasn't the case for me. In fact, my college years were turbulent in more ways than one. In this video, I will talk about my college years, but I won't just be talking about what I did in college, but also about my life outside of it. With all that being said, let's begin. My first semester at the University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras campus, was one filled with hope of a bright future, where I earned my diploma and worked on the field I studied for. At least that would be the case for most people. As for me, not long after I started my college journey, I pretty much knew that I didn't want to spend my years going to college. Instead, I wanted to be a YouTuber as my channel was performing very well. If you want to know more about how things were going on with YouTube for me at the time, I suggest you watch my previous storytime video. Obviously, my mother wanted me to study to get my degree so I could get a job in that particular field, which was journalism. So I went to college mostly to please her. Oh well, how bad could it be? Now, right around this time, someone was fully entering into the picture in my life. You see, my mother had started dating a man who he used to study with back in the day. They had a previous relationship that ended in a breakup. In 2014, they found each other on Facebook and started to chat, and not long after, they started dating. I'll most likely talk more about those events at a later time. I got to meet the guy at my high school senior trip as my classmates and I went to Universal. At the time, my mother's boyfriend lived not too far from the park, so it was a good chance for them to meet. Fast forward to the start of my first college semester, he moves in with my mother. At first, things seemed to be going okay between us. Sure, we had our disagreements, but so far, all good. That all changed around the holidays. As my mother's birthday was getting closer, her boyfriend, who's now essentially my stepfather, was getting the garage ready for a birthday party. Now, I don't remember what he said at the time, but I do remember that he made me cry. It's extremely hard to make me shed tears, but when I do, it means that something was said or done to make me cry. I will admit, it wasn't the first time he had made me cry. The first time that happened, I must admit fault for it. One morning he made scrambled eggs for breakfast, but he used onions and peppers on the eggs. I hated onions and peppers, the vegetable not the spice, so I tried to take them out of my scrambled egg, but then he got mad at me for doing so. He grounded me for doing so and I cried. I wasn't used to being grounded. In fact, I think that if I were to remember the times I got grounded, I could count them with my fingers and I'd have fingers to spare. I understand now why he grounded me at the time for being so picky about the food that he made. So, as I was crying, I had to eat the onion-full and peppers-full scrambled eggs. Getting back to a birthday party, as I got in the car with my mother, I was crying, and she had to set the car aside so she could talk to me to calm me down, as she didn't want my grandmother to see me cry, because she knew that if my grandmother saw me crying, she'd suspect that my stepfather did something. I mean, she'd be right, at least in that moment, but the thing is, my mother knew that my grandmother hated him. Sure, when they were around each other, they were cordial, but she would judge him when he wasn't around. Now, what was I talking about? Oh right, in my first college semester. I mean, it was okay. I got to meet new people, one of which was Joshua, aka the media art chemist, shout out to him. I also had pretty good grades on my courses. Not all A's, but a solid foundation to build upon for the future. As for my social life, yeah, right. At the time, I had only one friend who I would hang out with from time to time, and by the time we were slowly drifting away from each other's life. And don't even ask me about my love life. It was non-existent. As 2016 began, I had a goal for myself: lose weight. Sure, that's a goal anybody could have, but unlike most people, I was willing to put in the work to get it done. My plan was to make adjustments to my eating habits so I could eat healthier long term, as well as to go to the gym. For the time being, things were going well for me in that regard, as I went from 219 pounds in January to 202 pounds by the time my second semester was ending. Sure, as things did eventually slow down, it didn't help that I got a cold that stopped me from going to the gym for a while. Not to mention that I got a nasty infection on my left leg that started on the middle toe of my left foot, which only got worse as one doctor gave me a prescription for a cream that didn't cure me. The pain I felt was unlike anything I ever experienced. Just moving my leg made me squirm. I had to go to my main doctor to get it checked out after that, and he revealed to me and my mother that I should have gotten injections for the infection, not a cream. So I had to get one infection a day for the infection, as well as one every other day for anti-inflammatory purposes for 5 days. Luckily my aunt is a nurse, so my mother and I would go to her house every day for those 5 days to get my shots. Once the leg was healed, I felt better, but the leg looked purplish, which doesn't make any sense. So we had to go to the ER to get it checked. I ended up taking antibiotics to get my leg back normal. As for my weight goal, however, that was thrown down the drain. Why? Because I was too dead set on getting to my ideal weight by a certain time. I figured, why should I even bother if I now have to make up for lost time by working myself to the bone to lose weight by the deadline? Not the first thing I regret doing around this time, and certainly not the last either. In hindsight, I should have abandoned the deadline and just focused on the weight loss by itself. Oh well. So I gave up on the weight loss, and my weight eventually rebounded. That wouldn't be the last time my health would be challenged that year. And my home life, it was only getting worse. Eventually my stepfather thought it was a good idea to motivate me to lose weight by taking away all of my electronics until I lost 50 pounds. Forget the fact that I already had a goal to lose weight, but to do this without my mother at least approving of it or even knowing about his plan, honestly, it speaks volumes. Now, I will admit that I'm not completely innocent here. Back then, I was lazy as fuck and intended to stay that way because I hated to do any type of work. The thing is, it was the complete opposite. He was all about hard work, plus he used to be a karate sensei once upon a time. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Eventually my mother convinced him to give me my stuff back, but things would only get worse from here. As for the college part of this whole thing, well, I struggled mightily. Like I mentioned in the previous chapter, I had no one from college that I could hang out with, nor a girlfriend that would be by my side. And my grades suffered so much this time around. Then, as we fast forward to September, it was the day of my birthday. I have some sort of virus that left me itchy, with a prescription to rub cream all over the itchy spots. You know what could make it all worse? If the power went out. Yep. Throughout the entire island of Puerto Rico, the power went out because there was a fire in one of the main power plants of the island. So I had to spend an entire week quarantined with no power and only a small radio to entertain myself with. When I think about this period of my life, all I can think about is whatever could go wrong did go wrong. All areas of my life were failing. In college, I was barely scraping by, while failing some courses. I had no social life or love life to comfort me from my home life, which by the way, only got worse. In the middle of the second school semester, university had a student assembly to determine whether or not they would go on strike. By this time, many of the college students on campus and throughout the entire University of Puerto Rico system were unhappy with the university administration, as well as the government administration. So they wanted changes to be made. What changes did they want? I don't remember. Besides, they went on strike for 70 days, and I don't even know if they accomplished anything. If there's a former student from the University of Puerto Rico watching this, maybe you can enlighten me on what was accomplished in the comment section. As the students were on strike, that meant no classes. I was home, doing nothing, and things would only get heated in terms of my home life, partly due to my own actions. Like this one time where I left the clothes on the dryer for the umpteenth time, and my stepfather was mad at me because we were low on gas. So he told me that I had to go find a job to pay for it. And due to the fact that my mother was at work at this time, I had no one to protect me from him. So out of fear, I said okay. I mean, he's got a point. The clothes were in the dryer for more than an hour by that point. I had a really bad habit of leaving my clothes in the dryer for a long time, all because I was extremely lazy. It's one of those things I hate about my own self, and trust me, there are a lot of things I hate about my own self. As for this next thing, I don't remember if it was related to the last thing I said, but it's a story nonetheless. So everyone was at home, and my stepfather told me to take care of something, but the thing is, I was making myself a drink. But Sarah, you could have done the drink later and do as you're told. Yeah, but remember, I was lazy as fuck. And it was a detriment to me in this case, cause after he repeated his command many times, he got fed up with me. But I got just as fed up with him, so I screamed on top of my lungs, "Stop!" I had never seen someone spring from the sofa so fast, and as he stood up, my mother rushed from the bedroom and tried to stop him, but he was too strong for her. He got to where I was, and my mother threatened to break up with him if he hit me. He still ended up hitting me, and before you ask, no, they did not break up afterwards. Eventually, my mother told me that they were planning on all of us going to family counseling. Safe to say,
it never happened.
As I wasn't going to college at this time due to the strike, I ended up spending most of my days on online dating sites. I had been on those sites for about a year by this time, but sadly, I never managed to go out on a date with anyone from there, and maybe that's a good thing, thinking back on it. This chapter was the loneliest chapter of my life. And that wasn't the worst thing. You see, in early September 2017, Hurricane Irma came knocking. Luckily, it didn't do much damage to the island. It only scraped through the top of it. But later on in the month, it was Hurricane Maria that did unspeakable damage to the island. I won't talk much about it, as I had planned to make a separate video on the matter. 2018 was a year of reflection for me. I was starting to realize that I was wasting precious time of my life doing nothing, while also being hopelessly desperate for any sort of human interaction. No, I still didn't have any friends to hang out with, but that would change, but more on that later. I realized I need to stop with this whole desperation thing and just allow people to enter into my life by their own free will, as in, someone wants to enter into my life, welcome aboard. And if they want to leave, best of luck to you in your life and endeavors. Great life philosophy to have, as things did eventually improve in that aspect. By the end of the first school semester for the 2018-2019 school year, I started to hang out with the media art chemist, Joshua. This is when our friendship finally started to take off. Now, neither my love life nor my home life got any better, but at least they weren't getting any worse. Can't go further down than rock bottom, am I right? But anyway, in terms of my grades, they did improve, as I had the best grades I have had in years. So I guess there was progress. Honestly, there is not much else I can say about this chapter. Until next one. Of all of my years in college, this was definitely the best one. Now sure, I had no love life to speak of, but now I have Joshua by my side, and he would eventually introduce me to Junior, as they had been friends for a long time. I met Junior when we went to Puerto Rico Comic Con 2019. Man, our first interaction was awkward as hell. Don't believe me? Ask the media art chemist about it when you get the chance. Anyway, we had a great time. As for my college life, I had come to a realization that journalism wasn't for me. You see, when I first entered the university, I had done so studying for the bachelor's degree in journalism because I wanted to be a sports analyst. The thing about journalism though is that you get to see a lot of politics, especially within this one journalism class, which had us go to the capital of Puerto Rico as one of the final assignments of the course. That alone made me want to leave the course and also leave the practice of journalism entirely. So I eventually moved to the world of audiovisual studies. You know, stuff like studies about photography, script writing, video editing, etc. The one main reason why I did it was so I could use some of the lessons I learned there and apply it for my YouTube content creation. Not that it was doing well by this time anyways. As for my home life, things did eventually improve. My mother's patience was wearing thin for my stepfather, so he started to become a better person, as he was no longer looking to be a father figure for me. After this, I don't recall having any issues with him. Of course, past turmoil and trauma still lingered with me, but still, it was a step in the right direction. 2020. Need I say anything else? As COVID took hold of all of our lives, that meant that our classes went online. In terms of college studies, it was interesting. Being able to take your classes from home? Cool concept in theory, but the reality isn't as cool as you might think, especially if you happen to have first-hand experience of it at the time. With classes moving to online spaces, that meant no human interaction outside of it, so you can imagine what that meant for my chances at improving my non-existent love life. When restrictions got loosened up, Joshua, Jr. and I got to hang out a few times while taking the necessary precautions, of course. That's my home life. My mother would break up with my stepfather by year's end. Honestly, looking back at all these years, I must admit that I was no angel. If anything, my own behavior made things worse than they should have been. In all honesty, when I think of my old self, all I see is an entitled asshole that thought he knew it all. Safe to say, I hate my old self. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. As to the question of the video, are you in or have been to college? If so, what was your experience like? Let me know in the comment section. Also make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for more videos and streams. I will see you in the next video. Peace.